We're at the Great Hall. We're holding court, as we do when we go on the road. It's that special time, that opportunity for you at home, if you decide to join us on the road, to somewhat debate with Skip or Stephen A. Tar Heels are in full effect. Give it up for yourself, Tar Heels. We appreciate it. Dude, the competition is real. Cover my wires for a second. I've got my friend Cari, who spells her name exactly like mine. Cari from Cari, North Carolina. Thank you for joining us. You have a question for Stephen A?
I do. I just wanted to know, who does he think will have more success in their comeback from injury, Tiger Woods or Kobe Bryant?
Well, Kobe Bryant, because we'll at least know he can still play when all is said and done. It's the truth. The fact of the matter is, Kobe Bryant, granted, his shooting percentage was considerably lower than what we're accustomed to seeing, but the skill set we saw on the court, at least from time to time against him, was still Kobe, despite the fact that he's in his 20th year. I mean, Kobe Bryant in his 19th season in the NBA is the equivalent of what Tiger Woods should be at age 50. But Kobe's going out there and still showing that he could ball with young guys. Whereas Tiger Woods, he's looking bad 1 minute, then the next thing you know, he's collapsing on his knees because his back's hurt. He gets up, has surgery, then his knee hurt, gets up, has surgery, then something else hurting. And in the meantime, he's hitting shots as bad as I do. And I don't play. So, I just look at it and I just say, definitely Kobe over the short term, because obviously next year in all likelihood will be Kobe's last year unless some miracle happens. But in the short term, definitely I give the edge to Kobe as it pertains to who will look better.
Surprisingly on this, I really agree with what you just said. That was my initial instinct, was even though obviously golf should be easier to play than NBA basketball, and obviously Tiger Woods would have a shot through his 40s to be competitive in major championships, and he's 39. If we're just talking about next year, I trust Kobe 100% more than I trust Tiger Woods. Tiger Woods just spent a whole offseason rehabbing his back. Then he came back, and early in the year at Torrey Pines, a course he has absolutely owned in his life, all of a sudden his back goes out on him again, and he's gone again for an extended period of time. I don't trust his health at all. And you detailed, he's had shoulder, he's had knee, he's had Achilles, and he's had a whole lot of back injuries. Wow, really? Well, he's a broken down golfer. He's a golfer, but he's a broken down one. So I don't trust him in the near future at all. Kobe, coming off whatever it is, I trust him to be about as good as he can be next year.
All right, Cari also agreed she had to sit down because we got Jack here from Charlotte, North Carolina. This question, I don't know about this question, but I guess because I'm a bit biased. So ask it to Stephen A.
Hey, Stephen A. Which point guard would you start a team with right now? Russell Westbrook or Steph Curry?
Wow.
You want me to go?
I already know what Skip says.
I'm going to have to say Steph Curry. And let me explain. I love me some Russell Westbrook. He's a top 5 talent in the world. This dude's motor is at 100 miles per hour. He goes after it on both ends of the floor. I mean, to take nothing away from him. But Russell Westbrook has the kind of game that won't necessarily galvanize a bunch of folks around him. Steph Curry is he's got the kind of game that everybody wants to play with. Russell Westbrook has the kind of game that everybody wants to watch. You see the difference? So when you talk about building a team, if I already had a team, I want Russell. But if I'm trying to build something, then I'm rolling with Steph, because the chances are I'm going to be able to attract more of the requisite pieces around Steph Curry easier than I'm going to be able to do that with Russell Westbrook.
Stephen A., timeout. Let me see. Jack, do you agree?
Oh, absolutely.
Steph Curry?
Steph Curry's my favorite player. I love him. Shooter.
He's mine too.
Point guard.
And he does happen to be from North Carolina? Is that right?
It does work in his favor. It does work in his favor.
There you go, playing to the crowd again.
Just telling the truth, man. Stop accusing me of that. Do I accuse you of that when you're down in Oklahoma?
Yes, you do.
Actually, I do. Yes, you're right. You are right.
The operative words here are point guard. If we're going to start with a point guard, as in floor general, as in leader of the team, as in run the show, as in quarterback, It's not even close. Cari, I know you love Russell because he played at UCLA.
I do.
Although, when he was at UCLA, I didn't see this guy. I don't know what Sam Presti saw. He wasn't, I don't know.
Special.
That's a whole,
He's
he's a special athlete and scorer.
Yeah.
Just in a vacuum as a scorer, he's special. But again, if we're talking about character and leadership, I'm starting with Steph. If we're talking about getting the ball where it's supposed to go on every possession, even if it's you shooting it, I'm going with Steph. I don't trust Russell Westbrook to get the ball every time where it needs to go. And I do not think it will do the Thunder any good that he just won All-Star MVP, because he's going to think he is capable of shooting it every time he dribbles the ball past half court. That's not a great thing for Kevin Durant and the Oklahoma City Thunder.
The one thing that we cannot ignore is that Steph Curry is the greatest shooter in the game. He shoots 48% from the field. Russell Westbrook shoots 43%. He shoots 40% from three-point range. Russell shooting 28. Steph Curry is a marksman.
Look, Steph Curry, Russell Westbrook, you can't go wrong with either, but I agree. I understand why you guys want Steph. I got my guy Aaron here, and he has a question for Skip. Obviously, you watched the show yesterday because someone already discussed this, but hit him with your question, and we'll get your response, too.
All right. Will Amari have an immediate impact on the Mavericks?
No, he will not. Sorry. Stephen and I disagreed on this yesterday, but I dug in, and I'm not going to back off this one. I love Amari. We've had him on the show. He's a good guy. He wrote a beautiful poem, like an ode to New York. I don't know if you saw that yesterday.
It was
very
really
impressive.
nice. It really
was. It was sweet and it was creative, and I liked it. But I don't love his chances in Dallas at age 32 after his microfracture. He was never quite the same. I don't think he's going to change life. Do they need that big body as a backup for their front line? A little bit for Dirk and maybe some for Tyson Chandler? Yes. Can he ever be that guy who in his first year, if I remember, in New York, he was like 25 and 8 rebounds? I mean, he was pretty impressive early, but now it's 5 years later, and he's 32 years of age. I'm not seeing dramatic impact. It may be small help, but not big help.
Right, wait, hold on. 1 second before you go, Stephen A. Let's see. You agree with Skip?
Yeah, I completely agree with you. I think he'll sort of have an impact like Rondo has so far.
Yeah,
That's fine. Allow me to educate you. You're wrong. And so is Skip. Because you have to measure. You can't look at basketball players in a vacuum and just stand alone and say, this is who they are. No, it's about who you're going to play with. Amari Stoudemire will never be accused of being an elite defender. But he's going to be exceptionally well coached, because Rick Carlisle is one of the great coaches in the game of basketball. He's going to have a supporting cast, the Dirk Nowitzki's, the Monte Ellis's of the world. And what he's going to be asked to do is going to give you less than 20 minutes a game and give me 10 to 15 points in that span. Come off the bench, be an offensive spark plug in the West, which has more of an up-tempo style than the Eastern Conference. You combine that with the coaching, with the fact that a Tyson Chandler is back to being his teammate again, and some of the things he's not going to be asked to do. For the role that he's brought to Dallas to bring, which is essentially keep us in the game offensively, for those minutes that you are on the floor, Amari Stoudemire is more than capable of doing that. I think that he will benefit them incredibly so. It's just that the numbers, you're not going to see big numbers because he's not going to get those kind of minutes. But he's going to be there to serve his purpose of keeping you afloat offensively, and that's all you need if you're Dallas in the Western Conference. These ain't the Knicks. It's Dallas.
All right, on the show we talk about Ray Allen a lot. You guys remember that three he shot? You guys remember that? It's interesting because the conversation a lot has been about whether or not Ray Allen will sign. We've been told he's supposed to make a decision after All-Star break, so any day now we expect to hear from him. Pav, Winston-Salem has a question for Skip Bayless.
Yeah, I just wanted to know what you think, which team you think that would most benefit from Ray Allen, from signing Ray Allen.
You know, he owes my Spurs one.
Does he?
He does. He owes them one.
All right.
I would love to see Ray Allen coming off the bench with Patty Mills and Bellinelli, and that second unit just lights people up. I don't think that's going to happen. I know there's been some intrigue lately that Ray Allen might join the Atlanta Hawks, another three-point shooting team. I think at this point they lead the NBA in three-point shooting. Interesting, but I got to admit, as much as this would hurt my Spurs chances in the West, I think he belongs with Doc Rivers with the Clippers. I just think he'd be a great fit there. They need that. They need a three-point shooter. They need his leadership. They need some guidance. They need some stability coming off the bench. 15 good minutes a night for the Clippers would seem to be the best fit for him.
I totally agree with you. I definitely think that the Clippers would be the ideal fit because even though he would be wanted anywhere because he's an all-time marksman in the NBA, he's desperately needed in Los Angeles. It's not to knock Matt Barnes, but he's had a lot to deal with, and it's been a struggle for him, even though we like him. But Matt Barnes essentially is a spark plug off the bench. When you look at a guy like Ray Allen, particularly with DeAndre Jordan not giving you much in the post, he's basically a rebounder, a shot blocker, etc., and he scores on dunks, and Blake Griffin gives you what he gives you. You put Ray Allen in a lineup with Chris Paul on the floor who will find a way to get him the basketball, then you're talking about the Los Angeles Clippers legitimately being in that championship picture again.
You guys, we got one more special question here. We got coaching legend Roy Williams is joining the desk. It's official. Cari's court's legit. Roy has a question for Skip and Stephen A. What's the question?
What do you guys do for a living?
We'll find out when
That's
we come
funny.
back. Roy Williams joining us. Chapel Hill, North Carolina.